Ring, ring. Stupid footrest in the way. Ring, ring, ring. Hello, simps. And virgins.
Vegans.
Not vegans. And welcome back to Krown's magical tips and cake.
What the fuck was that? Your voice is cracking harder than me as a 15-year-old kiddo. Anyways, with that in mind, welcome back to the Krown Crypto channel. It's a live stream, baby. It's a live stream, and we got all sorts of live price action to be speaking about right now, with Bitcoin hovering around the $42,000 region, the area that we marked off from yesterday's video as a major precipice for a changing of the short-term, medium-term time frames. So I do want to cover back up on that, as Bitcoin is, well, put it quite literally right there right now. However, a few things suggesting a bit of hopium in the short term right here, and I have plenty of announcements to be making today, so I need to make sure that I have my notes in front of me. Here are my notes. Found my notes, man, on my phone as always. Anyways, I need to make sure that I got everything in order today, because there are actually plenty of things going on. One of which I just got another message about this literally about 5 seconds ago, is there is yet again another Instagram scammer. There's another Instagram scammer, is what I'm trying to say, with the same name as me or a very similar name as me. Please understand, I only have one personal Instagram account. It is in the link in the description below. Anything other than that is not me. It's a scammer, and it's probably up to no good. So you all right, well, whatever. Close enough name to fool anyone who's not paying close enough attention, which would be me, because I get these messages each and every day, every fucking day about this, man. And I just want to warn people out there. I imagine that most people probably, can figure it out themselves, but there's definitely some people out there who might just be, a bit on edge. They don't necessarily know. I just want to make it very, very abundantly clear. No, it is not me. My only Instagram account is in the link description below, of which I actually have two, one for the channel and then one for myself, if you happen to give a fuck. All right, sweet. So what new announcements do I have today? Actually, we have a new indicator listed on the store. One of the ones that has been highly requested for a long time now, that being the advanced stochastic by Mr. KVDB right there. Let me just make sure that I got it all lined up. Actually put a link in the description below as well. Actually figured out I should probably put all of my links in the description below as well. So I will follow up on that a little bit later with exactly what I'm talking about, but most importantly, I think it's time to get into the actual price action charts here, or actual price action analysis, in fact. So first things first, need to polish off this coffee and welcome almost 1,000 people watching right now, which is insane, especially on a very slow Tuesday where very little has actually happened, and kind of a holiday as well, coming off of yesterday's MLK Day. Good morning to you all. Good morning, all of you crypto zombies, you fucking savages, up way too late, and 250 likes on the video as well. That is amazing. It's a quarter to 1,000 right there. Incredible, man. Just fucking incredible. I'm ever so grateful for that, as always. I see our lovely moderators in here. Nikki Page, what's up, Nikki Page? Good morning to you, African crypto warlord. Good day to you as well, my good friend. Do we have anyone else? Any other beautiful? Yes, Randy Fox. There he is. What's up, Mr. Randy Fox? Oh, Elsa's here. Dodgymon, what's up, brother? Good to see you as well, brother. And I see Kobus. I see Dad Rakis. I see Crypto Zeal. Nice name, actually. I know Zeals from Zealots. Mr. Gandalf with the charts. We'll get to that a little bit later, Mr. Paul. Yasa, good morning to you as well, my friend. Good morning to you. It is a nice little morning, and a very slow morning here. Tom Struck, good morning to you as well. I recognize that name. I recognize a lot of these names, actually. Just trying to pick out the ones that I can quickly identify. Nimbo, there he is. He's got some eye emojis as well, and I need to remind myself to take off the alerts for right now. There we go. And memes teams, nice name, sir. That good flowing of the tongue action. So I'm gonna polish off this coffee, maybe a couple more sips, and then we'll get right into it. Oh, Mr. Bitcoin Boogie, another OG of the cave, my fucking man over there. All right, sweet. Okay, so we got another sip left in the tank as well. Dropped off all the kids at the pool this morning as well, so we're good to go. And let's get into it now, starting off with the Bitcoin as always. And I want to start off here with the Krown trading application. Well, because it has some very, very pertinent information, especially for what's going on in the short and medium term timeframes right now. We do see that the global open interest is starting to show a little bit of a tick up right here in the very short term timeframe feeds. Now, of course, I want to remind you that you can get all of this data for free in the link in the description below for the Krown trading application. And we do have hourly data feeds right here as well, which you can see has ticked up ever so slightly over the past, day, kind of putting a bit of a base right there. Thank you for the finished water. Beautiful. I'm very happy about that. But most importantly, when we go back on over here to the daily, I do want to once again create the case that, hey, it would be relevant to be looking for this to come a little bit further down before looking for a major base on Bitcoin price action to be set. And until that happens, I always want to be expressing caution from that metric, because if Bitcoin does break our short and medium term time frame ranges, that very likely does beget another test of the current lows. Now, that has not happened just yet. We'll go over what sort of criteria would fulfill that, but that is still on the board, and I always want to be cognizant of that because, well, that is, you know, a decent sized move from where we're at right now, from about just over 42,000 bucks, kind of in that range between 42 and 44, and that would imply a move all the way down to about $40,000 base if that does happen. With that in mind, I want to bring back the funding rates over here, which actually have ticked a little bit positive. Now, it is it's an incredibly low amount, so really not worth making a humongous deal about. But what is interesting when we go to the hourly data feed right here is that it's actually been steadily trending up since the last almost week now, in fact, going in from negative rates of negative 0.017% now ever so slightly positive, which again, is not a humongous concern, but it'd make it a lot more easy to call a bounce off this level if we saw a lot more negative rates in this case. And right now, with Bitcoin coming back down to the short-term time frame range zones, well, with funding rates kind of, you know, taken up here ever so slightly a little bit, it would gear the probability that we actually might see a bit of a breakdown soon enough. So, of course, at the end of the day, price action matters most, but I do want to be very cognizant of these facts. And then, of course, we do see that the leverage ratio is, well, doing what the leverage ratio does, which is go up and to the right. It's the most bullish fucking chart I've ever seen in my life, and you know what? It looks like it's going to go higher here too. So leverage positions taking over this market as usual. We even see some flows coming into exchanges right here. So about 10,000 Bitcoin sent to exchanges. Which, what are they doing that? They're obviously going to be covering their margin, right? No, they're going to go 100x shitcoin with their Bitcoin as collateral, right? Right? Exactly right. Now, I do want to offer up a little bit of hopium as well. Of course, with the fear and greed index, it does say on the macro scale, it's not necessarily wise to be looking for a humongous washout, even if Bitcoin does break to the downside. On the short-term timeframes, we're probably only looking at short-term timeframe moves, to be fair. We're not looking at, or we're unlikely to be looking at a macro move right here, with the fear and greed index being steadily within the fearful zone for about 2 months now. I think about going on about 2 months. Not exactly 2 months just yet, but again, very similar to what we saw over the summer, where you did spend about 2.5 months within the fearful zone before having that epic bear trap in late July, of course. And then the other point of a bit of hopium that I can provide here as well would be the nupple, the old nupple right here. What is the nupple? Well, in case you didn't know, you can actually just put your little cursor over the light bulb highlighter, and it'll tell you that exactly what it is, which it is the net unrealized profit and loss. And what does it essentially come down to? Well, don't give a fuck about all of that explanation. What I care about is the charts over here. And what do we see? We see that when it does come down to these levels, that was actually where we did find, or not we, but Bitcoin has found its last summer lows. And you can see that it's somewhat comparable with that. It's definitely within the midst of it. Now, we did see it go ever so slightly lower than that, to be fair, on the official bear trap in late July. But in this case, it's starting to be a lot more comparable. So again, underlying market dynamics for the more long-term are pointing towards Bitcoin very likely getting a pretty big reprieve here. Whether it begets one more test of the current lows or not, that is what we're going to discuss on price action. So let's go over here. I'm going to finish off the rest of this damn coffee, and then we'll stab right on into it. Alrighty, so this is the chart that we were working on yesterday. Same chart that we've actually been working on for the past week now, in fact, going back to the 11th or 12th of January of this month, obviously. And once again, we have yet another test to the bottom side of this blue box. Now, that does not constitute a break in and of itself. We need to see a closure. So one of these two metrics would define an actual official confirmed break for myself. One of them being an hourly closure below that wick low that you see from the 14th of Jan, I almost said June, and that would be about 41,600 or so. If that does happen, yes, I am looking for moves back down. We can actually just highlight the targeted region. No, not ellipses. I want the rectangles. I want the blue boxes. Peace and prosperity right there. Somewhere down around there would be a high quality play with very likely another short-term bounce implied. And then I want to come back to it after that, not make any further judgments. But for right now, with Bitcoin bouncing off this area yet again, it's not necessarily the most wise thing to be short into. Yeah, I'll pin your message, but can you wait, sir? Seriously. Anyways, let me just wait for this damn thing to pop back on up. And there we go. Okay, pin the message. Elsa's now happy, and well, fair enough. However, there actually would be an implied move a little bit lower than this box, so perhaps I do adjust that. In this case, perhaps it's a little bit more around about 40,000 even, now that I do recognize it. So until that does happen, that is not available, but because we are closer to breaking that end of this territory on the short-term, medium-term time frame ranges, I do think that it's relevant to be, well, at least aware of what would constitute a break in this case, or a 4-hour closure, essentially on new lows here, which is ever so slightly below $42,000. If one of those two things happens, yes, I am looking for this move to populate, and I'd be looking for a bounce somewhere, let's just call it around the current wick lows at about $40,000 territory. However, the big thing would be is, do we get a daily closure below that level as well? If that does happen, then we got big problems for the long term. Until then, I really hearken back to the fundamental data that we just espoused and the on-chain metrics that we just looked at, suggesting that we're probably a lot closer to a major bounce than a major continuation in this case. So with that in mind, if we go over to our momentum oscillators right here and our volatility indicators, we do see volatility is starting to expand off of the basically, as low as it gets in this case, 1 percentiles essentially. So we're very, very likely looking at a resolution of this range, whether it be to the upside or the downside, today around the time that US markets open for around about 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. I believe that CME chart's a little bit more clean and clear on this one. We got the old cock and balls formation going on right here, of which I want to once again say my piece with this one. Look, we do have a bit of a reversal formation going on, so I want to now present a bit more on the hopium scale. Or actually, did I get everything that I want to say about the lower term time frames right here? Yeah, technically speaking, you would actually have some hidden bullish divergence if Bitcoin does put in another low right here. It'd be an ever so slightly higher low compared to this low, and RSI on the 4-hour is already making significantly lower lows. So yes, you would have hidden bullish divergence if this does confirm as a local low. How'd you confirm this as a local low? That'd be about 42,500 on a 4-hour closure, be getting moves back up somewhere around just above $43,000. We're talking about short-term ranges here, to be fair. Anyways, going back on over into the old CME formations right now, I do want to talk about some busting price action here, as we do see what would be considered a bit of a higher low. I think this becomes a bit more obvious on a 12-hour in this case. Indeed it does, as long as Bitcoin does hold above basically the same levels that we did see on spot as well. And I think that spot's a little bit more clear in this sense, to be quite honest with you. But ultimately, CME does have the formation. So the big one going on here is, of course, this massive falling channel, which does have a higher statistical probability to break out to the upside versus the downside. But what constitutes a breakout to the upside? In this case, at minimum, we need to see a higher low. That's typically what you get first. And then this next part is the most important thing, and that can beget, of course, a technical target. But what would the next thing be? The next short-term thing would be getting back above that last rejective high that we saw at the end of last week on the 13th of January. That'd be about just above 44,200 or so on CME, depending upon what time frame you're using. If you're using a 12-hour, I'd say it's about 44,000 even. If you're using a 4-hour, I'd say it's about 44,200 or so. And if that does happen, I would start to look for the next move to occur. Now, here's the thing. I would not look for the greater implied target based off of this technical formation right here to play out until we do see a closure above the last rejective high on the medium-term timeframes, which is going to be about $47,000, I would say. It's actually a little bit lower right here on that last breakdown that we did see in earlier January. So if and when that does happen, I would be looking for this move to play out, or at least that would be my next sort of major, look on price action for that bounce to occur. Now, that again does not necessarily make Bitcoin bullish on the macro. It would certainly align with probabilities of that, but I do want to be on the board on saying this as well, in the sense that, look, if you are bearish, you are very likely looking for Bitcoin to put in a big bounce at some point, which at that point, you'd be looking for your higher term timeframes to put in some lower highs, meaning your 5-day and your weekly, which we actually don't have just yet. And where you typically look for though on those lower highs, well, typically look for them, statistically speaking, around the 618 Fibonacci retracement, in this case, a bearish retracement, which is right smack dab around that blue box targeted region, if that formation does play out, which again is still very, very far away. So please understand the order of operations here. This is a little bit more hopium for now, but yeah, it does look like Bitcoin to me is at least putting in a bit of a short-term short-term low right here. Even if you're on the hourly, in fact, we do see a somewhat of a reversal formation, which will be confirmed with any sort of an hourly closure above 42,400. So that'd be the shortest of the short-term time frame hopium that I can come up for you right now. And actually do think that that will play out, to be quite honest with you. I actually do think that Bitcoin's going to get another bounce around this region right here. And if those levels are cleared, well, we could see targets back up to about $56,000 healthily over the next month or so, but still have some major bearish concerns on the long-term timeframes. Now, I've already obviously put out my long-term macro analysis, and over Sunday, of which I actually do still think that there are several reasons to be looking at Bitcoin. It's very likely put in a major low relatively soon here. However, I will let you view that video at your own leisure because I don't want to get into that whole fucking hour-long discussion right here. So please understand. Anyways, I now want to go over to our momentum charts, specifically our what's it called? Our stochastic momentum charts. It's actually not just stochastic momentum. It's actually DMI, ADX, and HVP over here. And by the way, you can find this indicator now on the Krown Trading store. In fact, there is a link in the description below. And well, when it comes down to it, indicators, like, we don't really actually have that many indicators. We have 3 that we've listed over the 4-year operation of this, and of course we only list stuff that I actually use and find value in. This would be one of them, of course. Anyways, I do want to call this out on the daily right here. Daily stochastic momentum is actually going to turn to the upside, or with any sort of a closure today above 41,750, even though right now it does look weak and it does look like it's poised for a downside move. Understand that right now Bitcoin's about $500 above that. So if Bitcoin does close above that today, I would actually be looking at that as yet another signal that Bitcoin very likely does play at a short-term, medium-term time frame move to the upside, and well, that keeps the Bulaw's hopium alive for now. I imagine CME is probably very similar here too. In fact, it didn't even cross down and will be remaining with upside momentum as long as Bitcoin's closing above about 40,900. Now, shorter-term time frames I think are quite interesting here too. 4-hour stochastic momentum will turn back onto the upside officially with any sort of a closure on CME, with very low volatility right here, and the ADX also taking up as well with any sort of a closure above 42,320 or so. And of course, if we go on over to spot price action, it is actually even a little bit more hopium inducing, as you do see it bounce off the critical zone and will be officially crossing up freshly with any sort of a closure today, or sorry, not today, but on this next, I think we have another closure coming in about an hour and a half or so. Yeah, above $42,000, which obviously Bitcoin is currently trading about $300 above right now. So that would be both on the good scale side of things for at least a short-term bounce here first. Should you note that the 12 hours come in hard down, corrective below 43,500. Buy daily is showing upside momentum still above 41,000, which is good. 5-day, which just closed the other night, has actually come down officially all the way just below $47,000, and the weekly, of course, fully correcting here to about $48,000. So I do think that this aligns a lot more with a greater bounce first before anything else. Bounce targets can very easily come up into the even mid $50,000 territory without really giving us too much on the macro scale to talk about. But I do want to end with the last of the last hopium here, as I realize that this video is probably getting a little bit too long. But basically it is this, as we go back, or actually I should denote this. Yeah, hey, we do have daily MACD officially, well, not officially, but continuing with its upside momentum. And then also we do see that the PMAR, of which I want to give a shout out to Mr. Cosmic Whale for this one. We do see it anytime that it's hit these two trend lines right here. We've called some pretty nice tops and pretty nice bottoms. And by the way, that it did hit that trend line yet again on that last test to our current lows of this dumbola party. So that would be indicative that Bitcoin's more than likely setting up for a bounce here. So just be aware of that. All right, what did I want to get into? Yes, I wanted to get into this over here. Hey, TradingView, stop fucking around. Oh, you done goofed now, TradingView. Don't fucking do it. Don't do it. Don't do this to me. This is embarrassing, man. What the fuck's going on right here? For real. Like, all right, I'm just gonna go back to this chart. Oh, motherfucker. Yes, it's working on this one, but why not this one? I'll just refresh that. All right, yeah, changes won't be saved, whatever, don't care. Anyways, we actually do have something that is rather, oh, there, oh, come on. Yes. Okay, got it. Okay, we actually do have something that is rather important going on here as well. So I want to call out this. I won't go through the full rigmarole on this one. Again, I'll point you towards the weekend Sunday video if you want the macro hopium. That is the best that I can do for you right there. But in this case, I'll just briefly analysize this. I'm not going to go over the fractal case that we do see between the summer lows and what Bitcoin's doing over here. That again would kind of align with Bitcoin putting another bounce off this region. Again, I'll let you view the weekend video, which goes a lot more into depth on top of that. But what I do want to talk about is the similarities between the formations that we have going on from this segment in the market and this segment in the market. A lot of people calling out head and shoulders, which over the summer, there was an era of that once Bitcoin was right around this region here to June, early June that is. But once it put in this more like slouchy right shoulder, that was when you kind of knew it was unlikely to play out. And also the measure move on it was pointed down towards like, below 10,000, which I think is just, that's not a reasonable target as of this moment in time. So kind of indicative that it wasn't going to play out. But here's the thing, what a lot of people don't know about implied moves with head and shoulders. Everyone knows that you can, or most people know that you can just, imply to the downside. Obviously, that's going to be another $4,000 or $5,000 low. But you can also do, and what is even more compelling is, of course, the failure target to the upside, of which that did tell us about the $69,000 high well in advance, which we actually did call out on this channel over the summer. And we have the same sort of thing going on right here as well, right? In this case, it's a little bit less in this case, but we do have left shoulder, right shoulder, head in this case. Your neckline would be right around about $40,000 territory. We could apply this move to the downside, obviously, and that would be pointed down towards, significantly new lows at $13,000. I think that again would be a bit of an aggressive target for considering where Bitcoin is right now. But in the same case, if and when Bitcoin does get above that $52,000 territory, which obviously would be implied if we do see even the bear trap move play out, or the bull trap move play out, plus the measure move off of the falling channel for CME, well, that would obviously imply that, it would get above $52,000. And that would imply that we potentially could be seeing some major targets up towards, $75,000 to $80,000 territory. So I do want to be on the board of saying that as well as, I mean, that is actually rather consistent, especially when you do see formations like this kind of complete, not necessarily in like the most obvious sense. So I do think that that is worth knowing right now. That's kind of what's at stake, and just kind of put my own thoughts on this one. Yeah, basically, I do think that Bitcoin's got at least another bounce off this region. Does the bounce bring us back above, what was it on the hourly? I think it was about 42,400. Then it would extend the bounce significantly more, probably back up just north of $43,000 territory. And at that point, this starts to look a lot more like, again, a bit more of a complex short-term, medium-term reversal with your next big regions right around about $44,000 territory, of which then next short-term move, probably looking at this area right here between 45 and 46, or a little bit higher than that. And then above there on a higher term time frame closure, we can start to really look for those next implied targets to play out to, maybe even the mid $50,000 territory, and then come back to it after that. If we start to see rejections and major weakness in the mid $50,000 territory, that's gonna be a pretty bad sign for probably Bitcoin working its way down to, let's say, 30,000 or so. But until then, I would still be giving this asset a chance, as it's been pretty damn beat up to the downside with any like legitimately amazing bounces for your higher term timeframes like the 5-day and the weekly, which typically do judge macro direction. So I would be open-minded towards that. Hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Bitcoin, sirs and zers. All right, beautiful. I think I've got one little sippy sip left right here. I see some shitcoin shilling going on in the comments. What is this? What the fuck is this, man? Right at my Ponzi. Yeah, man. I actually, I love, what is their name? Crypto Bubble, the little crypto bubble. They're great, man. They have that, oh my God, they have right at my Ponzi and then my, sorry. If everyone's wearing their mask, you're going to be fine though. What's funny about that? It's called health and safety. And what's my favorite one? All Time Lows. Oh my God, man, that's a fucking genius song. Fucking genius song, and it gets stuck in your head immediately upon reciting it. Just beautiful, man. Those guys are amazing. Anyways, let me take this off over here. I'm going to get the comments prepared by Miss Elsa. Right on over here. Turn on the alerts. Beautiful. Okay, let's see. Oh, she's actually ordered them as well. This is amazing. Oh, yeah. The fuck is that? Go play with your unicorns. Anyways, what's up, Rupen Masrani? It's been too long, man. Yeah, we can look at Link 12 hour and daily. Sure. This one's actually been one of the more interesting ones as of recent, or at least last week, if I recall properly. Let's go check it out right here. Looks like it's given up a majority of its rally, which is not a good sign. But let's see what we got right here. We're getting the pullback, pulling it back a little bit deeper than what I would have liked. We are in the conservative targeted region. You're looking at a 12-hour and a daily. So basically, the hopium is that you are going to still dig in and set in a higher low right here, just around about $23.50 or so. Really don't want to see it close anywhere below the 17th of January wick low, which is about 23.25. If that does happen, I'm looking for this one to come back down somewhere around the prior base lows, which is just below $21, and try for another bounce there. Until then, I actually do still look at this one as generally probably okay. What do we see over here? We're seeing a pullback into very low volatility conditions. Do we have hidden bullish evidence here? No, we don't. Well, that doesn't help. That doesn't help in that case, but we do, I do like this condition right here, to be fair. So I'd still be giving it a chance. What would actually confirm this one as quote unquote good, and confirming okay, the 12-hour doesn't necessarily have that as well. Maybe the 12-hour does have potential hidden bullish evidence. It would, but man, that is not a strong structure right there. What would actually confirm this as your next major low structure? Thus confirming, moves back up towards, I think, around $30 or so. Yeah, about $30 or so. That would be quite obviously with a closure above 25.85 in this case. 25.85 can maybe even go as low as a 4-hour. Let me just double check. If I'm using a 4-hour, maybe I use 26.25 and be a little bit more safe. But ultimately, I would still be giving Link a chance right here. I think that we saw some just bizarre price action over the weekend, simply because it is a weekend and a holiday weekend, nonetheless. So you do see that momentum oscillators and just indicators in general are kind of like wacky in the early week after a time period like that. Anyways, looking at the daily stochastic momentum, we do see that it's fully correcting here, and will still be corrected below about 26.75 or so. I'm curious to see what the 5-day and the weekly did. Yeah, still up on the 5-day, as is the weekly, freshly up, I should say, 19.5, and the bi-weekly actually closed over the weekend. And where are we at? It's kind of flippy floppy right here, but will actually reject the bearish control zone with any sort of a closure, not this weekend, but the weekend following that, above 24.5. So I still do think that Link actually has a pretty good chance right here to set in another higher low, as again the 4-hour stochastic momentum is going to be turning back up actually on the next closure, as we're currently trading about 5 cents above the 23.61 region. But still, whatever Bitcoin does, Link very likely going to follow. So if Bitcoin does put this bounce that I am looking for, then very likely see Link do the same thing as well. And at that point, I do think that the probability of it setting in a bit of a higher low right there on the daily and playing out that move becomes a lot higher in this case. But until then, I'd just be looking at it from range to range in this case. Anyways, I see Beast Trader. Nice, man. ARK 4-hour daily weekly. Sure. All right. So you got Kathy Woods shitcoin over here. You know what? I actually listened to her speak the other day, and she's very enticing, man. I totally get why people give her a shit ton of money to invest. She's very enticing, especially to someone like me who, I just, everything sounds good to me. Hey, look at that. We hit our $80 target. Actually digged in a little bit lower than that, so fair enough. 77.5. Close enough is close enough right here. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Fucking beautiful, man. Every once in a while, that TA bullshit, that TA hocus pocus works out. I would be looking for bounces relatively soon. I would not confuse bounce with reversal right here. This is, this is your real chart. Well, it's not that much different, to be fair. There's very likely going to be a bounce relatively soon, maybe after one more dig, slightly lower at about $75. But ultimately, I am looking for this one longer term to probably come down a lot more towards $55 or $60, to be fair. 4-hour time frame, probably more bouncy relatively soon. Yeah, we do see this one starting to put in a lot of volume at the lows. So you typically see this sort of action around, at minimum, a bouncy region, and at maximum, of course, a reversal region. You do have multiple drives of bullish divergence come off the lows. I'm looking for a bounce right here, man. I'm looking for this one to bounce up short term, probably to open up to earlier this week, somewhere around about 85, 86 bucks. Maybe even work its way all the way up towards 92.5 or so. But I still look at this one as long-term corrective, as long as you are especially trading below the breakdown region at about $1.05. So, this one could very easily rally up over the next few weeks to $100 or so. But I'm still looking at lower highs below there, and longer term over the next few months here, or maybe not over the next few months, but perhaps over the next few years, I would be very not bullish on this as of the current moment in time. As long as it's below about $1, it's just a long way of saying as long as this thing's below about $1.05, I do look at any sort of upside moves short term to about $100 or so as just a corrective bounce before a long-term continuation of the downside. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for ARK Sir. Let me take a sippy sip of this water. I absolutely love Finnish water, and it's right here fresh in front of my face. I just caught this comment out of the side of my eye. Dad Racket says, Ricky O, do you want my ETH address? I'll send you a fart in a jar and a t-shirt. That's really nice of you, man. That's really fucking nice. Hey, what's up, Gohan's mom? Nah, just Russia and Ukraine. Wait, what? Oh, you're talking about the old war going on right there? Yeah, I got caught in a Twitter thread earlier I think it was last night or something, reading about that. Man, I hope that the world doesn't turn to war, but we have seen these sort of situations, several times before, and nothing's really come out of it. So, fingers crossed that nothing does come out of it, because that would be bad, very bad. Anyways, Ricky O's looking at Luna 4 hour daily. Yeah, man, we can definitely check this one out here. Let me just plop it in. Let's go to, and you're looking at a 4 hour daily and weekly. I actually still like Luna right here, to be fair. Let's go to a daily really quick as well. I need to get a nice burp out of myself, so prepare your ear holes. Whoa! Yeah, man. That coffee's coming up. All right, here we have Luna versus the dollar. We'll do general overview on this one for Mr. Ricky O, 4 hour daily and weekly. In this case, daily, I would be looking for it to maybe drop a little bit lower right here. Try for another higher low somewhere around your low $70 region, between about 71 to 73 or so. Anywhere down around there is fine. In this case, I still look at this as higher lows, obviously. Weekly, long term, still, just a little bit of a short term pullback. No major problems with that. However, I do want to be on the record as saying that if you do break this current low side structure, that being with the daily closure, let's say below about $70 or so, I would be looking for the weekly correction to play out. In this case, with targets down just below $60. We're talking about like $55 to $58 in this case. And to be fair, there is a legitimate possibility of that, seeing as we do have many drives of bearish divergence come off the highs right here. 1, 2, 3 drives officially, and you can already say that we've seen this one test at 21, but another move down around there upon that validation would be, rather nasty. Looking at short-term timeframes right here, like a 4 hour, I'd be looking for short-term bounces back up to low 80s. Let's call it 80 to 80, $81 to $82 or so. However, I do not look for this correction, or at least I would not consider this correction over until we do see at minimum a 4 hour closure above this high right here, that being about 87. It's just above 87.5 in this case, with targets back up towards your prior range highs in the mid 90s, in fact, about 94 to $95, and then that would probably imply continuation long term. I still want to be on record as saying that the very high term time frames, like a monthly right here, this is still bullish to me. We just saw a backfill in last month's open and nice and up. I wouldn't necessarily say that this aligns with continuation like this month to new all-time highs, but perhaps in February would be a little bit more applicable. Let's go over here and see what momentum oscillators are suggesting about this asset as well, from a stochastic perspective. And what do we see? 4 hour will be turning back up with any sort of a closure above 78 and a quarter, so that is right around the corner right there, but technically not confirmed just yet. Obviously, daily is also going to freshly turn down with any sort of a closure below 76.5, which you are currently trading more than $1 above, so that is good. Weekly is hard down, which is going to be corrective at best for a while, as is the 5 days. So I don't think that you're going to be looking at new all-time highs in January. I think at best would probably be February. After a lot more prolonged sideways right here, while you let those higher term timeframes kind of cool off a bit, and then perhaps set it up for a run, assuming that you don't break the short and medium term timeframes in this case. It's just kind of a long way of saying you basically got a daily range right here. Resolution of the upsides above about, 86 and a half or so. Resolution of the downsides below about $70. Until then, just looking at a bit of sideways with short term upside. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Luna's, Tunas, Sir. And then you also got Ethereum. Yeah, we could look at Ethereum. It's kind of interesting. No one really talks about Ethereum anymore. No one really asks about Ethereum. There are a few things to be aware of right here. All right, let's pull this up. Here we have Ethereum versus the dollar, and this is a little bit more concerning, to be fair. We do see yet again another lower high being printed right here. We do see some hidden bearish evidence also being confirmed as of yesterday's closure, in fact, and that is not a good setup, especially in the context of low volatility. And daily Jewel is not continuing with the upside right here. It's actually quite neutral. Unfortunately, we don't have a way of forecasting this one just yet. We're actually working on that right now, which I'm really excited for, because that's going to make this analysis so much more potent. But for right now, it is trendless, and obviously it has to turn white before, or sorry, momentumless, but it has to turn white before obviously it does get an official turn to the downside. So if you do see this one actually turn blue, which right now this indicator is free, which you can grab in the link description below, of course, then I would be very confident in calling at least another move back down around your current low side structure at about $3,000, and then come back to it after that. Higher term time frames like the 5-day and the weekly, how are we looking like over here? 5 days still grabbing hold of the 55, as is the weekly. Yes, indeed. So I would say, and again, within the context of Bitcoin, I don't think that Bitcoin's actually going to break down right here just yet, or if it is even at all, to be fair. By the way, thank you for all the 650 likes on this video. That's insane, man. It's a very slow day. That's incredible. But in this case right here, you know, Ethereum is a little bit more relatively weak. So if Bitcoin does show weakness, and if Bitcoin does break below this 42 level, very likely going to see this one overperform to the downside as typical. Anyways, as far as this one goes, let me just rechart this one specifically for the 4-hour time frame. Where would I be calling this one a bit more of a confirmed reversal that could bleed into the medium and higher term time frames? That would be specifically above about 3,400 on no less than a 4-hour closure. Be getting continuation moves up to about 3,600 to 3,650 or so, and then at that point, you know, you have to imagine that Bitcoin's probably looking okay, and Ethereum probably does work its way in the following month or so back up into the low $4,000 territory. Until then, you know, Ethereum a little bit more on the corrective side. But to be fair, if you are in the program, or if you're familiar with my sort of personal strategy with the Krown cross, you know, you're seeing a test down here to the 55. You do see a very low volatility, and do we potentially have hidden bullish evidence? Yes, we would, in fact. So that would be a really good signal. So this is technically like a very strong long signal for the long term for myself. Doesn't mean that it's always going to work out, but it would be negated specifically with any sort of a closure below last week's low, which is about 29.30 on a higher term time frame, nothing less. So I just briefly want to go over here to see if this is going to help me, you know, come up with a little bit more of a highly probabilistic case. Oh, I should actually denote that the weekly stochastic momentum is correcting heavily right here too, and ADX has pretty much let go of all of its strength from the last, like, literally year, going back to February in this case. So that is rather potent. That is rather strong. 5 days, same thing. 3,700 would force a cross the upside. Daily is going to be flippy floppy, but will actually turn to the upside today with any sort of a closure above 31.85. So while it does look weak right here, you know, you're currently about, I don't know, a couple percent above that region. So that would be, you know, I presume good, you know, for the blue loss here. 4 hours going to freshly cross up above 31.90. And the hourly, I imagine, is probably already there. Let's see. Yeah, hourly will continue. We will continue with upside momentum above about 3,200. So I do look at Ethereum as likely to at least get one more bounce here, as is Bitcoin. Then the question is, does it clear above any of the critical regions? If it does, hey, I think this correction can really get some nice legs behind it. You know, similar to Bitcoin, it's like, I do think you're more in a bouncy area than not, whether it be, or whether it implies one more retest of the current lows. In this case, it'd be just below 3,000. You know, I don't really have a strong opinion on that right now. I'd just be looking at ranges in this case, and Bitcoin's a little bit more obvious. So hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Ethereum, sir. Speaking of Ethereum, we got Ethereum Bitcoin now. Man, I wish I actually saw that one, because I could have included that in that video, but fair enough. What's up, Mr. Jake Anderson? Good morning to you. Do you think we're going to bounce with a higher low soon, or keep trending down? Last I looked at Ethereum, Bitcoin, we were looking at sideways AF, and I think that's pretty much what we gotten. This is actually not bad right here from a weekly perspective. So you're looking at a 4 hour and a daily. If you do want the Bula hopium, the Bula hopium is right here, that you are still working on higher lows, especially as long as you're above about 7 million Satoshis. We played out our corrective targets that we were looking for on the break of 8 million Satoshis. So would it be more relevant to be looking for a bounce from here? Or I'll be looking for a higher low right here. Again, you know, the 4 hour on Ethereum Bitcoin is, of course, a lot more weak than what we see even with Bitcoin itself. So I would call a downside range resolution with any sort of a 4 hour closure below 7.54 million Satoshis, with targets back down somewhere around your current lows at about 7.3, maybe a little bit lower. In that case, the daily is a lot more bearish, to be fair as well. I'm not going to shoot you. I'm gonna shoot you straight, man. Doesn't look fucking good. But look, if Bitcoin does bounce off this current region, you're very likely going to see Ethereum do the same thing as well, or at least not break down to new lows in this case. So I think at worst, short term, you see something like this where it comes back down around there, tries for another low around your last ones from early January, and then tries to bounce up. This is your major area right here, that 7.8 million Satoshi region, the same area that broke on the way to the downside is now going to be relevant on the way to the upside. Above there, I would consider the correction over on not just your daily, but also your weekly, and very likely does target back up towards the highs of this rally and beyond. And in fact, I do think that's, looking at the monthly right here, do I think that's more likely to happen or not? I still think it's a little more likely to happen, to be quite honest with you. But again, whatever direction Bitcoin chooses, Ethereum's going to follow. If Bitcoin breaks down, Ethereum's going to break down harder. And that's just, well, that's the game you play with altcoins typically. So fair enough, man. Hopefully that was helpful in some way. All right, let me scroll back on up over here. I think we got Jordy Watts Fishing. He says, good Arvo from the Aussie bro. What's up, Mr. Arvo bro? For some reason I thought that was like avocado or something. Like, apparently it's afternoon in fucking Australian speak. Could you please do a deep dive into Super Farm? Only so much deep diving you can do on something that's that new. But I can do my best job with it. Basically, still holding only because of the co-founder, you mean Elio. This is Elio's shitcoin right here. Yeah, man. I always feel a little bit like I need to declare my biases with this, obviously, because like I know Elliot, I know that he really cares about his project, and I know that he is genuinely passionate about it, and he has like a vested interest in making it work. But at the same time, I have to call a chart, right? Well, at least there's no point in not doing that. So first, let's start off with the short-term timeframes over here, see if we can find any hopium on these ones. Again, it's relatively weak. It's, to put it bluntly, it is relatively weak in comparison to Bitcoin. So that does imply if you do see Bitcoin break down here, again, below that, just under $42,000 level, you're going to see this one break down a little bit more harshly. At minimum, retesting the lows from, I think it was last week at 90 cents. Which was our target based off of the break priorly of about 112 to 114, I think it was. So we've actually pretty much already kind of hit that. I would suspect that the next move down probably brings it just below 80 cents if that does happen. Until then, you are dancing around the 200 simple right here. It's usually not the most wise idea to be shorting into a level like that, but man, it is so fucking close to breaking. And realistically, you only need two things here as far as the daily goes. That's going to be your last rejected high exactly right at the 55, and also your current low side structure, which is about 91 cents in this case, a break above 121 or 121 and a half, 122-ish region on a medium or high term time frame. I'd be looking for this one to actually go for a nice run back up towards your highs at about $1.50, and that's going to make this look like a very mature and ready consolidation. But for right now, you got a downturn right here. This is not strong on its own. It's going to require a strong broad market, and if Bitcoin does fail, this thing's going to fail harder. Looking at the 5-day, I mean, this is looking at a 5-day, it's basically retest last week's open, or last 5-day open, which is 94 cents. So it's kind of implying another move down around there. And then if the bounce fails, man, this thing's probably coming down below 80 cents to be fair, which is kind of a big move from where you're at right now. So just be aware of where those change around. And again, it's just easier to watch Bitcoin and kind of apply that same sort of logic to this one, just understanding that if Bitcoin does break down, this one's probably going for like a 20% move rather than Bitcoin's, 5 to 10% move, which is what I think we'd probably be looking at a break to the downside. And I really would not call this one correction over remotely, as long as you're below about what was it, 121 and a half or so on even a medium term time frame closure. So do be careful with that, as you do see several drives of hidden bearish divergence right there. Now volatility is not exactly where you want to see it on a move like that to be very confident in continuation to the downside, and you are seeing some volume actually pour into this asset right now. Not that it really trades too much to begin with. We got 10 million traded in the last 12-hour session there, so that's not much, not much, but it does certainly overshadow it certainly overshadows anything that we've seen anytime recently. So yeah, that actually could be a base, could be a little bit of tell right there. So fair enough. Again, easier in this case, in my opinion, to be watching Bitcoin. Stefan Milosevic says, hello, Krown. Can you please do Luna? We did Luna, so AVAX, yeah. Thank you for including another one on top of that, man. It's smart, very, very wise right there. Okay, cool. Yeah, we can pop up AVAX right here. Let's go to a daily. I'm going to take another sippy sip of this water. Maybe record this one as well. Okay, sweet. All right, yeah, let's record this one. This one's always fun to do. Symbol, motherfucker. Good recording, Krown. Avalanche time, symbol AVAX versus the dollar. And what do we have? We have another retest of the current lows, or around the current lows in this case. Close enough is close enough. And a very simplistic chart, actually. So, you know, again, we got the rejection at about the 98 level that we spoke about from, I think this was last week or so when it was relevant. Not exactly where you want to see it, but it's not a death sentence in and of itself. A death sentence in this case would be essentially with a daily closure below your $80 low side structure, kind of the same thing as before. In fact, I'm going to put in a nice little blue box to represent that right here. Here we go. There we go. Beautiful. And until you actually do close below there, which would probably imply that Bitcoin does something similar as well. I would not be calling this one a big bad breakdown with, you know, with targets down somewhere around just, you know, $65 to $68 or so on the next move. Until then, what would actually confirm a resolution of this current low right here, which would actually be a higher low as well, would be any sort of a daily closure, or even a 12-hour, or perhaps even a 4-hour as well. Let me just go double check. If I'm using a 4-hour, I would be pulling it back on over here. Yeah, actually 4-hour would work, about 97 and a quarter. Until one of those three things happens, I would not confirm this one as a local low. Now, if this one does confirm as a local low, I would be having targets back up, some pretty big targets back up, actually north of $100. Sorry, well north of $100, obviously like 110 to 115. In fact, that's going to make this whole formation here look like this, with your highs right there, with your higher lows coming in right here, which would be a very ugly ascending triangle to be fair, but hey, it would be in there. Probably implies that this one has a long time left to go in its consolidation, to be fair. Looking at the weekly, I like the bounce of the 21. We do naturally have hidden bullish divergence forming here as well, but it is very much unconfirmed on the other side, and not the other side that you're going to like, but we do actually have a head and shoulders right here on weekly RSI, which, to be fair, you know, does have a higher probability to play out than if it is on just price action itself. So you're right over there.
Yeah, Jason wants you to look at text.
Oh, god damn it, Jason. Jason Pizzino is here. What's up, Mr. Jason Pizzino? By the way, check out Jason Pizzino. I actually had his links in the description below before this video because it saved them from yesterday's video. But he's right there. He's right there. His channel is Jason Pizzino. It's the easiest one to remember. Anyways, going back onto the 4-hour right now. You know, are we seeing any signs of bouncing behavior? Not really, but let's see if we can find some sort of hopium for the short-term time frames. Maybe 4-hour stochastic momentum's turning up as it is pretty much on all assets that we've looked at today. And yeah, it is. In fact, we'll be officially crossing up with any sort of a closure above $86. And I think that we have another hour and 1 minute left to go until that is confirmed. So that'd be the nice hopium. I'd say the same thing here as I kind of said on a lot of the other alts. Easier to watch Bitcoin. If you start to see Bitcoin play at that bounce we spoke about, then you're very likely going to see this one follow here too. And again, a little bit of a nuanced situation here on the daily. While it is showing weakness on daily stochastic momentum, that's actually not going to be confirmed with unless this thing closes below about 85, 84. So you're currently trading more than $1 above that. So I don't think that that's super relevant for the moment. But what is relevant is the weekly and the 5-day, of which they do still suggest that at best this one's going to be trading sideways for a while, and at worst, you know, what's going to constitute a breakdown on this one? Again, or actually no, we already spoke about that. Daily below, or even a 12-hour below about 82 and a half or so. Jason's sending me messages on Telegram saying that someone put me in a timeout. That's right, man. You go on a vacation. Going on a vacation over there because you've been having too many of a good time in Australia right now. But yeah, a closure below there, and I am looking for big moves down, you know, somewhere around low $60 region or so. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Avalanche. No, man, it's just timeout, Jason. You'll actually be back in a second. And there he is, Philson. What's up, Mr. Philson? Jesus Christ. What is it? I love how people just like post and like in all capitals, doggy to the moon. I'm convinced. I'm going to go buy. It's like, what? I don't know, man. Maybe sometimes people just want to hear themselves talk, which is me, man. I want to hear myself talk a lot of the time as well. All right, sweet. Anyways, yeah, that's it for AVAX, man. Let's see. Paul Garrett is looking at Matic on the 4-hour and weekly. I think this one was one of the ones that was actually, you know, okay, at least from what I remember yesterday. But see if the tables have turned in the last 24 hours, and they have. Actually, we're kind of getting the old LARP lines playing out right there. Anyways, go back on over here. Okay, Facebook, stop with the damn notifications. What the fuck? I don't even use Facebook. How are they notifying me of shit? There's nothing to be notified of. Oh, I see some Instagram stuff as well. Anyways, we didn't necessarily get the move that I was looking for right here, to be fair, but that is a LARP line. That's why it's called a damn LARP line. Anyways, have we broken our low side structure? Not necessarily just yet. That's going to be below about 218 in this case. Until then, I mean, I really only have 2 trend lines here with one in betwixt them. That's going to be to the low side of about 192, high side about 260 in this case. Actually still, let's go to a weekly. I still like this one long term, man. I don't think that I think that this one's generally good. Again, same thing on the monthly, you know, backfill on last month open. I don't think that you're necessarily poised for new all-time highs this month. I think at earliest it would be next month, February. But overall, one of the more strong charts on the higher term timeframes. Lower term timeframes, it's the same shit as Bitcoin right here, right? If Bitcoin does bounce, you're very likely looking at this one bouncing back up somewhere north of like 230 to 240 or so. I would not call the lower term timeframe, so I'm going to bring this chart back on. This is not relevant for this time frame. Let's chart it for this time frame specifically. It's going to be right here below about 218 and a half, and let's get rid of the damn LARP lines as well. And resolution at the upside above about 244 in this case, until one of those 2 triggers is met. I do not call this one resolved. And again, if you do close below about 218 and a half, I would be looking at another move back down somewhere around your lows. What the hell was that, man? Price prediction for Cardano on Thursday, please. Someone's got to pay rent. When's Cardano going up? No. I don't know, man. Looks like a shitcoin to me. Well, actually, it's one of the few ones pumping, so I'm just talking shit because, well, you're spamming. How are you spamming as well? Like, there's a 10-second delay or 5-second delay on comments. Anyways, 244 to the upside would be upside resolution, and this one's, that would start to look a lot better. But again, I don't think that this one's going to be charging up towards prior all-time highs anytime soon, or making new all-time highs anytime soon. I think at earliest would be February, and that's assuming that you know, everything goes as positive here as possible, which would imply a bounce right here alongside Bitcoin, and then short-term targets again just north of 230. But nothing really changes or is resolved to the upside as long as you're below 244 in this case. Short-term below 218. I'm looking for retest of lows, and would I call continuation just based off of that? Not immediately. I would be looking for another bounce off of about 192 to 193 or so, and then I'd probably be looking for continuation, as this would be very clearly a loss of momentum on this whole formation right here, and daily jewel would probably turn down as well, which would not be good. That would make that one a lot more easy. But you're kind of seeing the same thing. You know, from, you know, across all these assets, you're, you know, if I want to see this signal like completely confirmed, because if it does, that would make this a lot more simple, and that's essentially what we're waiting on right now from our developers who are working on that 9 days. So I don't really have a time frame for that, unfortunately, but that would be like that's going to be fucking big, at least for myself, because I'm going to be able to forecast and put together even better trading plans with that data. Anyways, Lauren Gontero, what's up, Lauren? Ooh, it is a lady. Nice. What the fuck? You scare her? Kronia. Kronia? Oh, dear Lord. All right, well, you're a girl, so we should be nice to you, but this... Well, it's not that bad. At least goes up and to the right, generally speaking, although I've never seen this name before. Hi, Krown. Hello, Lauren. Daily, 4-hour daily and weekly. It's actually not that bad, to be fair. It's actually... In fact, it's one of the better charts we've seen. What the fuck? It's one of the better charts we've seen today. You know what? I wanted to give you shit for this, but I would be talking out of turn here for certainly. Anyways, higher highs, higher lows, testing the tops of the range. I don't know if it's necessarily ready to bust through Laura, but not through you, but through the.
She said I said it wrong. I'm drunk. Chromia.
Whatever. Simple CHR. You're drunk. It's Tuesday. Like, what are you doing? Tequila Tuesday or Taco Tuesday or some shit? Anyways, well, I salute you, Lauren. Fair enough. Well, you're definitely Australia, I'm gonna guess. No, yeah, no, you're US. Anyways, probably from the South. I have a high amount of respect for you, Lauren. Anyways, yeah, I actually don't think this is the worst chart that we've seen today. In fact, probably one of the better ones, especially in the short term. We'd like to see a 4-hour closure above basically kind of where you're at right now, about 95 cents, if you're using a lower term time frame like that, and then short-term continuation up just north of about $1.10 to $1.15, with probably more long-term continuation back up to your current highs, about $1.40. This one's actually, you know, rather interesting right here. I mean, you do have a slew of higher lows right here. I wouldn't even mind a short-term pullback down to like 75 cents or so. I'm bullish on this thing as long as you're above about 6-7 cents, to be fair. Weekly, Good. Weekly's really fucking good. I'm actually looking for this one to continue this week. I'm looking for this one back up around about 120, maybe even 140 this week or next week. Any sort of a closure above your last like 140, what is this, 140 to 141, sorry, not 141, but 140 to 145 highs, and I'd be looking for a significant continuation, obviously, because this is, you know, this would be a new all-time high party, but let's see where the implied targets would be. All right, so you got that. I suppose, Jesus Christ, somewhere between about $5 and $6.50 or so. That would be rather powerful. I mean, obviously it's going to take some time for that, but I would go as far as saying this is probably the best chart that we've seen today, which is kind of bizarre. 5-day confirmed another drive of hidden bullish divergence right there. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to bust on Lauren today, but perhaps over this next 5 to 10 day stretch, one of the probably among maybe even the best chart that we've seen, certainly today. I do want to check it out from here. It's chromium. All right, so you got the N and M switched up. I do that all the time, and I'm not even fucking drunk. I don't even drink. I don't even like drinking. Weekly stochastic momentum's turning up right here above 63 cents. Beautiful. 5 days, same thing, above 85 cents. Excellent. Yeah, this is probably the best one that we've seen today. I don't know if it's necessarily ready for like immediate continuation this moment, but perhaps over the next week and a half, one of the better ones. I'd only invalidate bullishness below about 70 cents in this case, on no less than a daily time frame. You know, quite good. So thank you for bringing that one up, Lauren. As Afzal Talher says, thank you for, hey man, no problem. My pleasure, man. Rose USD on the 1 and 4 hour, please. Sure. From Las Vegas. Okay, no shit, Las Vegas. You live in Las Vegas? Holy shit, are you real? Hey, this is actually the best chart that we've seen today. Here we go. So the last one among the best charts, this one Rose is the best chart actually. Short term though, probably a little bit of a pullback. Here we have Rose, symbol ROSE versus the dollar. It's actually not Rose, it's Oasis Network, I suppose for Rose. Short term, a little bit of a pullback probably implied here, or will be confirmed with any sort of a 4 hour closure below 47.70. And that would imply targets back down. I'm just kind of visualizing this, about 40 cents. I'm visualizing the move. I'm using the secret to populate the move right here, but we do have a bit of a head and shoulders right there. Measure move would be, yeah, directly down to the 200 simple. So that'd be about 40 cents or so. Not bearish though, man. This thing is actually probably the best chart that we've seen today for the more medium to long term, but short term, could it pull back here? Yeah, absolutely. Weekly, obviously closing on new all-time highs is going to be, you know, good. So short term pullback somewhere down around low 40 cents is completely fine. I imagine that comes alongside of a Bitcoin pullback as well. I do want to see if higher term time frames are looking more corrective from a stochastic momentum perspective, but I suspect that this one's among some of the better ones. Yeah, daily is turning down here, as is the weekly is actually not. It stays up above 34 cents, and 5 day is up above 42 cents. Very interesting. 4 hour is doing what is flippy floppy, but about to turn down below 49 cents. I do think that this one's setting up for a bit of a short-term correction, to be fair. However, after that correction, let's say down somewhere around low 40 cents, I'm looking for this one to bounce and very likely continue on with the macro rally, maybe around end of this month, January, very likely in early February in this case. But yeah, one of the best charts that we've seen today. I would really only invalidate long-term bullishness with a daily closure below, let's say 35 cents. Until then, all higher-term timeframes and long-term bullish. I'm just looking for a short-term correction here and then come back to it after that, assuming that invalidation condition is not met. I think this is actually one of the better charts that we've seen. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Rose. Maybe we talked about like long-term continuation targets if it's relevant here. I don't necessarily. Do I have any? Yeah, I do actually have some. It would be, I guess, more around 72.5 cents. And then like very long term would be, you know, buck and a quarter to $1.50. Like, you know, that would be months down the road, obviously. But for right now, yeah, one of the more interesting charts, in fact. So there you go for Rose. Cool. H. Kelly says, warm greetings, Eric and Elsa. What the fuck? From down under, do you believe in margin pressure levels? Well, do I believe in I mean, they're real. Do you believe in the moon? Well, it's somewhere out in the sky there. Yeah, it's definitely real. What do you mean by believe in it, though? Do I believe that you can accurately get it from retail consumer data? Probably not. Do I think that you can get it if you are a highly esteemed quant firm with pretty much unlimited access to anything? Probably yes. In fact, very likely yes. Anyways, with Confluence at 7x short, long at 46. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. I think it's a good guide. It's a good guide in this case, but 7x short long doesn't mean anything. I mean, because most people aren't like choosing out 7x. The people who are moving this market, they're not even choosing their leverage. What they're using is they're using cross leverage, and then they're managing their risk manually. It's really the degen gamblers who are like, okay, I'm feeling confident today, so 5x slider or 20x slider, whatever the fuck. Like those are not the people who move the market, in my opinion. But you can get some washout and pressure points from those levels, yes. But a 7x level would actually not be anything that I think would be relevant for like a major radar. The ones that are really relevant are 20x, 10x, 5x, and 3x from what I understand. But I have not studied that well enough to stand by that statement, nor would I make an analysis myself off those. And those should naturally line up with major areas anyways. So fair enough. I mean, $46,000 is relevant just because that's your last, breakdown level right here, essentially. So I would say that there's just easier ways to deduce that naturally. But yeah, it's good that it has confluence right there. Would Bitcoin bounce to 52, 53, short, long, 4x level? So you're basically saying if you break 46 to the upside, would you be looking for a continuation move somewhere around about low 50s? Yeah, I would. Yeah, basically. It should naturally show up in the charts like that anyways. So that's kind of why I'm a little bit more of a purist on charts in that manner. But you actually do bring up a really, really good question there. It's just, it's kind of funny, like you're picking 7x at $46,000. It'd actually probably be more like 10x it's more like 47 to be fair, but fair enough. Close enough is close enough. I get what you're saying. And yeah, there's some validity to that. I just think there's an easier way to kind of get it. But fair enough. Very much valid. Gabe Patel says, hey, Krown, what's up, man? Hey, sweet. That's awesome, man. Can you look at NASDAQ on the 4-hour and daily? So I'm going to look at NQ futures over here. Not good. Not fucking good. How about that? Getting a lower high right here, rejection into the Krown cross on a downside cross. Not fucking good, man. Not fucking good. Anyways, you're looking at a 4-hour daily. Also, do you believe that Bitcoin will follow NASDAQ since it's considered a techie asset to the big boys? It does seem to have a high beta correlation to NASDAQ techs. People used to think that it was either like it trades with financials or techs, and NASDAQ's obviously both XLF and XLK. So yeah, look, I do think that this chart does correct a little bit further south over time, but to be fair, I don't think it's going to happen here in January. I think at earliest it'd happen in February. Anyways, you looked at a 4-hour as well, or you wanted to look at a 4-hour as well? Let's see. Come on, show it to me. Come on, trading view. There we go. Probably going to retest the lows around here, which is, probably going to imply that Bitcoin does something similar as well. But I would be similar to Bitcoin, I would be looking for another bounce off those lows. I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable saying that this one's like destined to shit the bed today, let's say. Especially coming off of extremes like this over here on daily BBWP. I think it's more likely to maybe retest range lows and then try for another bounce. I'd be happy to be bullish back above 15,950. Until then, it's at best ranging on the lows and hopefully bouncing there. At worst, you're going to see a closure below about 15,100 or so, and that's going to be opening the floodgates most likely for the more long-term move, which very likely brings it back down to about 14,750 to 14,800 or so. Hopefully that was helpful, man. Nehemiah says Metis versus Ethereum on the 4-hour and daily. Sure. We haven't looked at this one in a while. Let's see where this one's at. All right, Uniswap. You're looking at a 4-hour daily. How far down do you think the current pullback will go, and how long do you think before next breakout? It depends what time frames you're on. This one's actually, this is fine. This is actually, again, among some of the better charts that we've seen today. I'm actually looking for this one to maybe even put in a higher low right here. This is really, really good. Daily, bullish long term. Weekly, bullish. There's nothing bearish about this chart as of right now. I think this one actually continues after maybe a slight continuation of this pullback. If it does pull back a little bit more, I'm just looking down towards about 0.07 or so, somewhere down around here. Yeah, actually I already have it kind of marked off. But for right now, this one looks like it's trying to put in a higher low. All higher term time frames still have some bullish posturing here. And I do think that it probably reaches somewhere around, okay, it's actually already at my blue box. I'd say it could even it could even tick into like the deeper end of it. And at that point, I'd probably be looking for a greater correction. You are starting to build up bearish evidence on daily RSI. You are starting to see extremes here on daily BBWP. I think it's got maybe one more move and then a big correction, probably back down long term towards your 0.0518 level right here. Until then, you know, short term, actually, I think it's still probably okay. Yeah, actually one of the better charts we've seen today. What the hell is that thing? What does it do? Let's see. Okay. Oh, Elsa's got them all aligned. This is actually really, really nice. Thank you for that. Are you having trouble over there? You very proud of yourself? I can count the numbers. Luke Crow, what's up, man? Cardano, oh dear lord, is on Moveser. New decks, Sunday Swap. Insert joke here. 12-hour daily, if you would. Sure, man. Let's go check it out. This one's probably worth recording as well. It's one of the few ones that was boorish in the short and medium term timeframes. Oh, we got a correction exactly to our fucking level. That's classic. That's fucking classic. Not bad, though. I mean, this is a strong move right here. It should get continuation after a short-term pullback. Here we have Carderpio, symbol ADA versus the dollar, and we have a move back around our prior daily rejective highs, which is good. However, I would be looking for a short-term pullback from this region, as we do see extremes here on 4-hour BBWP twice, in fact, and we do see 4-hour, 4-hour bearish divergence forming here as well, which will be confirmed with any sort of 4-hour closure, basically below about 155 or so. Pullback targets could very easily come back down to about 145-ish region, but ultimately, I do look for this one to probably give another try to the upside over time in any sort of a closure. Even on a 4-hour closing basis, I do think, let me just go double check. Yeah, this would work on a 4-hour closing basis. Any sort of a 4-hour closing high above 160, and I would be looking for this one to continue on with the daily rally. Next targeted region would be coming in back from your rejective highs from late November, in this case, at about 175.5. Again, I actually don't think that things would necessarily stop right there. I do think that Cardano is putting in a nice low right now. We did identify yesterday on the live stream with Jason some regular bullish evidence come off the lows right here. This one's been beat up to shit for the last like 5 months without any major bounces on your higher term timeframes. I think you're going to be getting your first higher term timeframe bounce right here, to be honest with you. Let's go check it out from this angle and see if stochastic momentum is also turning up. That would make this a lot more of an easy and high quality call. Yep, weekly is turning up after a full correction all the way and will be remaining with upside position above 120. Great. 5-day, same shit. 127, the magical number. Daily is getting up there at 139 or so. But again, that is still long-term good. 4-hour is turning down right now. So again, short-term corrective. I do think that this one pulls back short-term, can very easily pull back somewhere around, mid 140s or so. And then I'll be looking for it to set up for a continuation of this run maybe later this month or early in February or so. This one's actually having one of the better moves. Now, I did hear something yesterday that this move, sorry, coffee's coming up. This move was initiated or not initiated. God, fucking Google's listening to me. Bastard. Stop it. Spied on my conversations. It's ridiculous. My conversations that I'm having publicly on YouTube. How dare you? Anyway, how dare you? Anyways, I do remember yesterday that someone expressed that Cardano was having an event. This was an event-driven rally. I really don't like that long term, but I do imagine that leading up into that event, you probably are going to see this rally continue. So just short-term pullbacks here. I'm actually going to be bullish on this one. I do think that you have the lows in for a while now. I would only say that the lows are going to be negated with a daily closure below about 137.5. Below there, yeah, you probably retest like 110, $1 or so, and then get to play the game of is this thing wrecked for forever or not? But for right now, you're coming off the monthly 21 right here. You almost even have a bullish engulfing or a potential for a bullish engulfing, not necessarily exactly just yet, but any sort of a closure at end of month, January above 175, I'm going to be calling big moves up towards $2.50, $3 in the following months. So it would look really, really good. But for right now, among some of the more better short-term charts, to be fair, just looking for a short-term pullback and then very likely continuation, maybe around end of month here or early February. Hopefully that's helpful. And there you go for Carderpio, sir. Nice one, man. AK McCarr says, hey, mate, glad to see you're feeling better. Hey, man, it's, it really wasn't that bad, man. I didn't want to scare anyone. I mean, it's, it's pretty mild for myself, although I understand that some people have a very difficult time. No doubt about that. I don't want to incite that World War III discussion. Maybe don't talk about that topic, says Elsa. Rune on the 4-hour and daily. Sure, man. All right, let's go over here. Rune, US derp. Okay, all right. Someone will get offended. That is a given. It is the internet after all. I do still think that you can have the hopium of kind of setting in a higher low here on the weekly. This is not intended to be like perfect in this case. Let's go down to a daily to mark off a horizontal level instead. That would be a lot better of a way of doing things. And in this case, this one's rather simple, as we do see a nice base at 566. As long as you're above there, you know, I'm probably looking at this one more likely to bounce from this region than not. But again, it's kind of weak on its own. So if Bitcoin does fail its own bounce here, you will very likely see this one completely fail itself and initiate moves down towards, I mean, $5 or so, five even, maybe a little bit lower than that. To be fair though, lower term time frames like a 4 hour, they're looking more bouncy here than not. Short term maybe back up towards like 6.25 or so, but nothing really changes around in the short term time frames from like a trend perspective, as long as you're below about 710. So it's kind of the order of operations. Again, going to require a strong broad market for this one to catch a bid here. Until then, I think it's corrective at best with a little bit of a short-term bouncing plot. I mean, this is a hell of a chart right here, man. This thing basically went up from nothing. Oh my fucking god. 245,000% to the upside. No wonder people like this shit. That's your real chart, man. That's Jesus. You've already corrected a measly 75%. The problem is that if you break that level, it could be another easy 75%, and that only brings you down to like $1. Problem with 90% corrections is that a 90% correction, you can always have multiple in a row. Anyways, yeah, man. Vince says Rose USD. Yep, we got that one earlier, so good there. Yeah, I think he even recorded it as well. What's up, Mark Wilson? Bund versus Ethereum. Okay. Bund. Bundles. My bundles, 4 hour, my bundles, 4 hour and daily, not too confident on this chart, to be honest with you, man. Looks sloppy as all hell. Levels of support you see, trend overall, the trend is to the upside right now, but looks sloppy as all hell right here. I would call a little bit of a short-term breakdown below about 0.117 or so, with big targets back down to like 0.0085. That's kind of the most obvious one that I see right there. Let's maybe go to a weekly. Weekly's kind of selling off of the prior highs. I do think that this one probably does correct further south, honestly. I actually do think that it will head somewhere back down around here. But I really don't feel confident on this chart, man. It's a very sloppy chart right here. If I'm looking at a 4 hour, do we have anything that's obvious? We do have this at least. So 4 hour has some regular bullish divergence that could be confirmed with any sort of closure here above. But I just don't trust things. And some that just doesn't trade that much like this, which, I mean, I'm looking at like 4 hour dildos here and there trading like, 500 volume at most on like the big ones. It's really, really light for something like this. So, I am a lot more inclined to say that this one's more likely to pull back first, try for a higher low somewhere right around here, and then maybe give another try to the upside. Monthly, let's just see really quick. Monthly, please respond. I really don't have a good idea on this chart, man. I've shoot straight. I don't know. Healthy amount of I don't know is the proper answer, and this would be this would be a good example of that. I know where I'd be bullish on this one, and it's not helpful. It's above 0.026, just basically your this wick high right here. Above there, great, bullish, calling new all-time highs. Below here, I look for the correction that I'm kind of a little more biased towards to happen, but I don't feel compelled by this chart on its own. A little bit too new for me. Or it's not even that it's too new. It's actually got plenty of history right here. I'm sloppy as fuck. Not where my edge is. What's up, Jack Jensen? Hey, bro, wishing you and Elsa a blessed day. Hey, man, you as well. So thank you for that. Near BTC on the 4 hour and a look over the weekly close. Sure. Near. So we've been looking at near versus the dollar, which has been very good, but near versus the Bitcoin, also very good. However, looking for a pullback here. Many drives of bearish divergence come off the highs. Very likely at minimum coming back down to 38.50 or so. We saw extremes here on daily BBWP, kind of working off those again. Weekly, still long-term good. So I should just be looking for short-term pullbacks on the daily to put in some higher lows here. Bitcoin coming back down below 42, maybe around about 3,500 or so. Let's see what a 4 hour says. 4 hours about to print some hidden bullish divergence right here. I would not fucking trust that though, man. Jesus, that'd be a very aggressive call. So I would say that you do have a nice and solidified low right here with continuation to, in this case, where's our next target's going to be implied? I actually already have it charted out right here. I guess continuation targets upon a validation above that region would be like 58 to maybe even 6,500 in the following weeks. But I'm a lot more inclined to say that this one does pull back first. I think 3,800 to 3,500 is kind of a nice area for potentially your next higher low. If that area does fail, I'm looking all the way down, like significantly down all the way to about 3,100 or so Satoshis. Long term, actually still think that this chart's okay. Higher term time frame still bullish. Monthly and weekly, good. I mean, both of these are great right here. So I'm just looking for short term pullbacks, I guess. See how it operates if Bitcoin breaks down here, as Bitcoin does dance around the $42,000 level yet again. All right, sweet. John Brooks says VRA USD daily weekly monthly hopium. All right, you want the hopium, man. All right, I always have to preface my hopium conversation. Yeah, we should definitely close the chats. Jesus, probably should have done that earlier. Daily weekly monthly. Okay, so only higher term time frames. What's your hopium here? Hopium is that Bitcoin reverses. This thing is not going to be strong on its own, man. Yeah, I got you. Relax. I got you, sir. I got you. I'm just waiting for it. There we go. Yes, super chats be closed. So all super chats after this moment. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do it, but we'll get to all the ones that have already been submitted here. Look, not strong on its own, man. The hopium is above 3.6 cent in this case. We only need one trend line right here, really. Above there, I would call this as your next like major, maybe even macro low in this case, with targets back up towards 5-6 cent. Don't think that's what's happening though. Look, man, the second that this turns blue over here, not the second, but if and when that does turn blue, I think your hopium is that you're just not going to go too much further past about 2.4 cent. The doomium is that you will, and you will find yourself at the ripe old price of pretty much what you saw over the summer, at about a cent and a half. Again, whatever Bitcoin does, this one's going to fall. It's not strong on its own. So I really don't have too much hopium for you. God damn it, another fucking message on TradingView. Stop it. Just fucking stop it. Oh man, worst to ever contact me on this damn thing. I was wondering if you could give me access on this indicator. Well, just like everyone else, you can find them on the Krown trading application. I do not give out access myself. Just like it's like the founder does all of the customer service as well. No, man, I can't. That's what we have Elsa and Stephanie for. Anyways. Yeah, I really don't have much hopium for you on this one. The hopium basically comes down to, does Bitcoin hold its levels or not? If Bitcoin does, very likely this thing's going to dig in here or kind of around here. I'm just basically not lower than 2.3, 2.4 cent or so. But if I'm just shooting you straight right here, man, very difficult to be bullish on this thing below 3.6 cent. Above 3.6, yeah, that's where hopium turns into reality. We start to talk about targets probably back up towards 6-7 cent actually. I think before I said 5 to 6 cent. No, it's more like 6 to 7 cent, and that'd look really, really good. Other than that, man, like this is if Bitcoin turns down here, this thing's gonna overperform. Very likely coming back down to summer lows if that happens. I don't have much hopium for you. It's contingent upon that fact or upon that validation. Echo Zien says BNB, BTC, 4-hour and daily rejection around not 1145. Okay. BNB, BTC. All right. A lot of Bitcoin parents today. And continuing to range versus retry highs. Practicing my basics and working on assessing ranges. Cool, man. Well, the first thing that stands out about this chart is, despite my despite my usual distaste for most things Binance, this is pretty good. It's pretty good as far as charts go. I'm actually bullish on it long term. So if you're looking at a 4-hour and daily, is it rejecting the range? You must be on the 4-hour right now. And where exactly are you? 1145. So you're probably looking down around here. Rejecting around there. It hasn't even got there. 1145. You're talking about up here. No, I would not agree with your range assessment, to be honest with you. Range in this case would be on your 4-hour coming back from this rejective high right here. When you see something like this, that is the area to really be marking off and judging from. So it would be a little bit higher than where you're at, but pretty close. I mean, wouldn't be too far off, to be fair. 11750. But I actually do think that this chart is among some of the better charts that we've seen today. This one's not bearish long term. I think if Bitcoin does turn to the downside, you're probably going to find this one at like 10,800. But I would not be bearish on this on a weekly, nor would I be bearish on a monthly. This is bullish, man. You know, I think at most you come back down to like 10,800. And then assuming that Bitcoin just doesn't like completely shit its own self, then probably looking at this one to, you know, bust on through to the upside, man. Where would I call a new all-time high party with targets in mind, or just, I mean, obviously that's going to be above your current all-time highs. This one's actually a pretty technical chart here. Let's see. I'll be looking at next move somewhere around about 14,100. Very likely a short-term stop there, and then very long-term upon validation above there, probably looking at 20,800 or so. Or somewhere around 20,000, let's just say. This is actually one of the better charts we've seen today, to be fair. I have to give credit where credit is due. Mike says, OMI daily, weekly. OMI, okay, this is the, no, this is Ecomi. Ecomi, gotcha. Daily and weekly. Another pretty good chart here, actually. Now, just like some of the other charts that have been pretty damn good, I am probably looking for a pullback here in the short term if you're on like a 4 hour, but you didn't specify 4 hours, so I'm gonna guess that doesn't really mean anything for you. Hey, no problem, Mr. Echoes the End. I appreciate that, man. Or hopefully that was helpful. So awesome, man. I do think that this one's probably topping out short term, to be fair. I would be looking for this one to probably base back down around your upper 60,000 region, 66 to 69 or so. Great number. But ultimately, again, another one of the better charts, to be fair. You know, selling off of your tops, you know, off of a retest of your top side of the range, it's completely fine, completely normal and natural. I'm just looking for higher lows somewhere around here, basically. That would imply that long term, yeah, you know, if we're on a weekly, yeah, upper 60s, let's say 65 to 69 or so, somewhere around there. Long term, I do think that this one's going to bust on through. Maybe late January. I think that'd be a little bit more hopium, probably more like early February, with any sort of a daily closure above what is this area right here? 8 cents, I'm guessing. I would be looking for a retest of your all-time highs. In fact, like somewhere around here. It'd be really, really good. I mean, you got a pair of higher lows here on the weekly. You got the same highs right here. This is a reaccumulation is what it looks like to me. I'd really only get bearish on this one and kind of invalidate its setup. You know, I guess there would be some problems implied below about 6/10 of a cent. At that point, I'm just looking for a retest of your like half a cent regions. Till then, not I mean, I do think you're going to put short-term pullback right there. It's just long-term quite good. I can't get poops call on the daily. Oh, you speak knees. Oh, you clever motherfucker. Obito says doggy 2K22 is the new SHIB. Let's see. Where is my doggy derp coin? Is it the new Shibby? Oh, she Nikki deleted it. Quick, Nikki. Very quick. Well.
Write it, code it, name it, read it, mine it.
Christmas dildos moving up and down. They'll call.
Motherfucker. What song was it?
It's the Lambo crypto.
Oh, motherfucker. I thought it was going to be the doggy song. God damn it. I done goofed. Apologies. Is it going to be the new SHIB? I don't know if you want to be the new SHIB. SHIB seems kind of bad as far as charts go. Let's actually see. What is SHIB looking like? I will never understand the obsession with shit like this. Yeah. I don't know, man. Looks like a downtrend to me. Kind of crazy. Reach says CRV. Yeah, let's go check out CRV. Yeah, probably shouldn't spend too much time on that. I'm getting trolled again. I thought it was gonna be the doggy song. CRV. I'm actually looking for this one to come back down a little bit. Did not want to see a rejection right there into a lower high. Okay, you're on a 4-hour daily, and any thoughts of Bitcoin heads down? Yeah, I do. This one is kind of trading with Bitcoin in the short term, certainly. So it would be relevant to be looking at kind of your lows from the 10th and 11th of January. If Bitcoin does break down, that's kind of where I'd be looking towards. I don't like this high right here. It does offer up a very obvious edge. That's going to be, this is not for the 4 hour obviously, but that's going to be right here at about 550. 550 or so. Any sort of a closure above there, I'd say that this correction's over and ready to roll again on the weekly and monthly, because the weekly's still good. I think that this one's still bullish long term. Monthly, a little bit less enticing, I guess. Maybe a bi-week's going to help out. I can very easily pull back here too. Yeah, man, it's, if Bitcoin does dump out, I would be looking for it at minimum down around that region. Again, about let's call it 430, a closure below there. And that's at the point where I start to really not look at this. I look at this when it's starting to fail. It is a good sign that it is still generally holding its trend, but below 430, I do think it will start to lose that. And you will start to, play this one out probably down to like $3.50 or so. Would that make this one bearish long term? Let me just see on the weekly. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that on long term, but it's not the best signal to see this one spend so much time at this region right here. I'd say like another 2 weeks at most, to be honest with you. So I feel like I'm not being too helpful in this one, but basically it's a long way of saying, look, if Bitcoin breaks down, I'm probably looking at this one back down around 10th to 11th of January lows. It's not going to be fully concerning on the daily and weekly at that point, but below there, yeah, I do think that this one will lose structure, and I'd have to no longer be bullish on it for the long term. Cool. Or maybe not some cool. Chaim M says, hopefully I'm saying that properly. Hey man, can you check out CRA? Okay. Not familiar with this one. Krabada? The fuck is this thing, man? 4 hour daily. 4 hour daily. Well, that's a hell of a chart. There's really not much here for a daily. This thing's only been around for less than a month at this point, just a few weeks actually. I don't have an opinion on this chart, man. The best that I could do is maybe on a 4 hour. In this case, I'd say your range lows are right here at about 98 cents. Your range highs are right here, right around $1.44. Hopium is that you're digging in right here and setting in a higher low on this continuation play. The dooming is that you do break below there on a 4 hour closure, just below 98 cents, and initiate moves back down to 81 to 82 cents. Until then, I don't have a strong opinion on this chart, man. I do apologize. I feel that's not that helpful, but I really don't have a good idea on this chart. It's a little bit too new for me. Jack Law says, can you look at Rune? Yeah, we got that one earlier, so good there. Echo ZN says, Plab? All right, sounds like a stock. No, it's a goddamn crypto on Binance, of course. Daily, weekly, higher time frame. Oh, okay, it is stock. Okay, thank you for specifying there. Wait a second. Plab, yeah, Plab. Photonics, good, really good on the 4 hour. Let's see. Daily, weekly. You're saying higher term time frame dailies continuation here. Okay, you just saw this correction play out. You see the hidden bullish evidence right there, plus volatility turning up. Daily Jewel lost its downside momentum and turned white, so this is continuation play. Let's go to a weekly. Are we at all-time highs already? I think so. No, we are not. So I would be cognizant of your last major weekly highs from like literally fucking almost 20 years ago at about, what is this, 28 and a half? 20 and a half. I do think you're going to test around there though. So generally over the next few months here, I would be looking for the rally to continue. This is good. This is quite good here. So I do think that, I do think you're very likely going to see somewhere around about 26 to 28 and a half in the next few months here. This is all continuation on all higher term time frames. Just beautiful. Volatility continues to tick up here alongside monthly reversal completion. I think that's quite a good setup actually. Mr. Basil says TGA on ASX. Thank you for specifying, by the way. TGA. We got a breakout to 30 cents. Okay. Whoops, wrong one. My apologies. Not to that. It is this Thorn Group. I've charted this one out before, and there's your 30-cent region. So hey, not bad. You're looking at a week and a month. Okay, we're on a month right now. Probably going to be looking for this one to continue somewhere around about mid to low 40-cent region. It's kind of a big move on a 30-cent. Looks like a fucking OTC market or something. Daily looks like a breakout, but very weird looking. I imagine that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to these, which I'm guessing are like very low liquidity, low traded assets, but fair enough. I do respect the break in that, and I would be looking for it to continue onwards and upwards. The only way that I'd negate it and say that it's a failed breakout is with a daily back down below 26 cents. Until then, looking for a general continuation to the upside, somewhere around about, let's say, 44 to 45 cents for the next major region. Monthly, I mean, the problem with charts like this is that it looks like this, and that's a big problem. This is the real chart right here, so I'm always going to be very skeptical about a chart that looks like this, but I do think that you have some more continuation, and then, you know, I think best it does to the upside is maybe like upper 40-cent region before the next major high gets put in. LZ says Telos. Okay, Telos. T-L-O-S. One of the planets in Telos, one of the planets in Knights of the Old Republic 2, one of the best games of all time, just saying. Anyways, 2 hour and 4 hour. All right, 2 hour, good. Continuation implied here, very likely. I guess I've charted this one before, so that's great. Somewhere around about mid 85 cent or so, I'm guessing. Somewhere around there. Big volume on that spike to the upside, good. Starting to hit extremes here on 4 hour BBWP, 4 hour RSI is getting way up there as well. I do think that you maybe got one more continuation drive on this move, somewhere around mid to upper 80 cents region, and then I'd be looking for a pullback. And the hopium is that you want to see a higher low on that pullback and then continuation. Until then, this one kind of pumped out of nowhere. So I'm going to guess it's probably event driven in this case. So I'm always, I'm always skeptical of that, but short-term continuation, pull back after that, and then come back to it. But for right now, this does look like a nice reversal, actually. Quite important right there, in fact. I would say that this is extremely likely to hold on. Is it a reversal? I would say it's a confirmed reversal with the 4 hour closure above about 81.5 cents for like a much greater move in that case. So not only would you see those next targets hit, but probably a continuation up somewhere around just shy of $1. Cool. Let's see. Saeed says Cardano. Yep, we got that one earlier, even recorded it, so that'll be posted a little bit later. Crypto Med says near or FTM. I think we got near kind of already. We can do FTM. I think this one's very interesting here, showing relative strength. Okay, so I actually put out a video on this one on Elliot's channel a couple times now. We got the pullback right here into the higher low, beautiful. We got the pullback right here that we're looking for as well. I do think this one could pull back a little bit further, especially if Bitcoin does. You're probably looking at this thing back down around mid 2.5, like 255 to 260-ish region. Until then, let's say that Bitcoin does confirm a local low, kind of where it's at. I'd be looking for this one to do the same thing. You'll know, or at least you can kind of judge that by this area right here at about 280 on a 4 hour closure. Until then, I still see higher lows. I see potential hidden bullish divergence on this next higher low if it does complete, which would be confirmed with a 4 hour or even an hourly closure back up about 308.5 with targets back up towards the high of this rally, and then very likely new highs on this asset as well. But for right now, I do think that it's more likely to pull back a little bit further south. Personally speaking, somewhere around mid 260s is where I'd be looking towards. And then tries for another move to the upside coming into like early February in this case. But yeah, one of the better charts certainly that we've seen today. Just I do think that it pulls back a little bit first, and especially if Bitcoin does the same thing, it's kind of. I'm just looking for higher lows here, but I would say that it's going to pull back with it. Only problems would arise below about 220 or 225 on a daily closure. Cool. Echo Zian says, think you'll stream the new Total War? Yeah, man. Or maybe I will. I don't know, man. Like, I've had really tough time finding time for games recently, but I'll definitely play it, man. I mean, it's fucking epic. Yeah, man. Well, I'm hoping that Bitcoin kind of picks its own self up in the next few weeks here. But it's like another couple weeks away. Actually, I'll be on. We'll be in Dubai during that time. But by the time that I come back, yeah, I'll be up for it. Manny says, best of the best and happiest day to you. You as well. Thank you for that. Nice positive message. Nikki Page says, think it'll be the title of next week's Sim podcast, how cheese and rice helps the crypto industry. Yeah, by supplying it with nutrition. Exactly. All right, sirs and zers. It's been a nice stream here on a Tuesday morning. A little bit of a slow Tuesday morning, but I want to thank all of the 1,300 people watching right now. 960 likes on this video as well. That is amazing, especially for a slow day like this. Shout out to all the crypto fiends who are still sticking around in a market like this right now. Because obviously, while these times are typically boring for the average person, this is typically where the biggest and best opportunities do arise. So, do understand that if you are kind of sticking around during these times, you typically can actually get a lot out of it. It's just, you just kind of have to be glued to your computer screen, and makes it difficult watching paint dry on your charts. But ultimately, that is usually where major highs and major lows are put in this case. Probably getting a little bit closer to the latter of those two. Maybe after one more drive to the downside. Anyways, I'm going to be signing off now. I want to wish everyone well. I want to wish everyone the best of the best on this Tuesday morning. I hope that this content serves you well or was in some way valuable. We'll be signing off now. We'll be back tomorrow. Elsa's waving in the background because she loves you, and I love you as well. Take care, and see you hopefully very soon.
Write it, code it, name it, read it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, fix or pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate, pause it, list it, send it, burn it, pump it, hack it, quick rename it, take it, take it, blend it, send it, swell it, sell it, flip, unflip it, see it, watch it, learn it, know it, post it, tweet it, and repeat it, chart it, long it, short it, hedge it, post prediction, quick erase it, watch it, leave it, watch it, leave it, check it, click it, and refresh it, find it, drop it, crack it, lose it, curse it, pay it, to it, pay it, bar it, chart it, hide it, fight it, feel it, seal it, and unlock it, back it, send it, change it, blend it, mine it, grind it, how it, test it, praise it, curse it, trash it, hash it, scroll it, troll it, and upgrade it, take it, make it, blend it, send it, swell it, sell it, click, unflip it, see it, watch it, learn it, know it, post it, tweet it, and repeat it, chart it, long it, short it, hedge it, post prediction, quick erase it, watch it, leave it, watch it, leave it, check it, click it, and refresh it, write it, code it, name it, read it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it.